Hello and welcome to the 261 Fearless Empowerment Talks. I'm Juliette McGrattan. I'm going to be hosting the talk today. Thank you very, very much for joining us for what I know is going to be a really interesting conversation. Now, 261 Fearless is a global network which uses running to unite and empower women around the world. We're really passionate about improving the health and well-being of women from all different cultures and backgrounds, and really keen to use our global platform for education. Now, our series of empowerment talks are with influential and high-profile women who are working in business, health, sport, leadership roles. We want to talk to them so that they can inspire, inform, and educate us. Now, if you're watching this live, you can join in too, because you can put your questions for our guest into the comments section, and then at the end we'll be having a look at those questions and I'll be asking them to our guest. Now, I'm very delighted to introduce today's guest, Pamela Forster. Pamela is a professional parkour athlete and freerunner. She participated in the German Ninja Warrior series, and she's a stuntwoman for television series and also, excitingly, in the new Wonder Woman movie, which is coming out next year. She is also a member of the board of the Austrian Sports Federation and an advocate for youth and future sports. So before we talk to Pamela, I just want you to have a little quick look at a video so you can see her in action.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
We'd just like to get to know you a little bit better. So just to kick off, I'm just going to ask you a few really short questions. So just a little brief answer so we can get a little snippet of your life. Is that okay?
That's fine.
So where are you living at the moment?
In Vienna.
And can you just give us a little summary of the occupations that you've had to date?
I did gymnastics for a very long time, and I studied sports science. I worked in sponsoring and marketing in a soccer team, and right now I'm a professional parkour and freerunning athlete, and I also do stunt works.
Wow, quite a variety. And what would you say your passions are?
Actually, parkour and freerunning is still my passion, and I really do it for 10 years now, and I love it so much.
And what do you do to keep fit? Is it just that or are there other sports as well?
Actually, I'm trying to keep fit by doing many different kinds of sports. Like, I'm not only doing parkour and freerunning, but also I like to boulder, do climbing, break dance, and martial arts. Like, I try many kinds of movements to keep fit.
Brilliant. And what about the future? What are your dreams for the future?
Actually, I really want to try to stay healthy and fit as long as possible, because I know get to know a lot of women, they're like over 60, 65, and they're actually better in things than I am right now. So I'm like, okay, this is what I want to be at that age, be able to do splits and be able to do that and whatever. So
being 60 and 70 and doing the splits. Perfect, yeah.
Definitely cool. Wow.
Great. Well, let's talk about free running, because I know lots of the people watching will not know very much about it. Can you just explain what it is and what the difference is with parkour, or is it the same thing? Or
Actually, we always use the two words in combination, parkour and freerunning. But first of all, there was parkour, and it's mostly overcoming obstacles in a very efficient way. So mostly in urban cities, so we try to, like, when you go down the stairs or you go take a bench or a rail, we try to overcome as quick as possible. And then there is free running, right, which develops out of many different kinds of sports like gymnastics, breakdance, martial arts. You create your own style and you put into the run, more movement, different movements, flips in a very creative way, and this like makes it really fun to train.
And what is it that you love about it? What keeps you going with it?
Actually, what I really like about it is when you train or when you go out and meet other people and you train together, there is no wrong or there is no right in the movements you do, because everything you do is like the way you want to do it, and you always, as a free runner, you're always a creator. That means you're always creating your own style. You find new movements, you find new ways to overcome an obstacle, and the opportunities are endless. And that's why I love it so much, because like there's no, this you have to do it like that, and this is wrong and this is right. It's just whatever makes you happy.
That's interesting. I'd never thought of it as a creative hobby.
Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating. And it looks pretty dangerous. It looks pretty scary. And I'm just wondering, so much now when with children, we're told, oh, don't do that, you might break this, be careful, particularly maybe for girls. Perhaps we portray them as being a bit more fragile than boys, which is obviously not necessarily the case, but I'm wondering, is that something you experienced growing up?
Actually, not really, because when I think my mom never told me you're not able to do this because you're a girl. And maybe that's also because she grew up with an older brother and she always played the same games as the boys did. So there was never really a difference, and maybe actually she taught me the same thing. Like I was going out, play with the girls, play with the guys. I never thought of like, I'm not able to do that because I'm a girl. It was clear to me that when a guy can climb up the wall, I can climb up the wall. So I never compared myself to the boys like that. So
it just never really crossed your mind that there was any difference?
Really.
Yeah.
I think, thanks mom for that.
Yeah. Well, it's the importance of role models, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And who was your inspiration for free running? Did you have a role model or somebody that made you think, I want to try that?
I think it's really important to have role models. I always have many different kinds of role models in different situations. For parkour and free running, her name is Lucy Romberg.
Okay.
She's from the USA. She's now doing a lot of stunt work as well. And she was the first woman I saw doing parkour and free running in an event. And there was like 15 other guys and she is the only girl. And I'm like, wow, what she does is so cool. Like she flips off and she's so present, and I really want to do the same thing. So mainly her, she was the reason I really started getting into it.
Mm-hmm. And I think I'm right in thinking that you're the only Austrian who is a professional free runner. What made you think that it would be your profession? What was it that made you take that step?
Actually, like I used to have like a normal job, like a 9-to-5 job, working in an office, doing sponsoring and marketing. I really had like a safe environment. I really loved to do that job as well. And besides that, I really had the passion for doing parkour and free running and keep training. After my work, I went to the training and I did this, and somehow people ask me if I want to do like a show or if I want to do workshops and teach them how to do that. And then people ask me if you want to do a commercial and you would be good for a stunt because you could jump over things and then run away. And then more and more jobs came in, and one day I realized actually I can probably make a living out of parkour and free running only, which is like a creation of many different kinds of jobs. And yeah, that's why I make the decision.
So you kind of did it alongside, and then eventually your hobby became your career.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And you must be pretty brave. What is it you think that makes you fearless enough to do this?
Fearless enough to do this? Actually, I don't think anyone is really fearless, and I think it's really okay. But it took me, like, it sounds really easy, like I have like my passion and I made, like, now it's my career, but it was a really, really hard decision, and it took me like more than a year to really think about it, if this is really what I want to do and what I think I can do. And that's why, like, I used to have a normal job, right? And I was like, okay, what is the worst case that can happen if I quit my job, I try parkour and free running as my profession, I don't get any jobs, I don't have any money. What is like the worst case, and what would I do in that situation?
Okay.
And then I make like different kind of plans. And after a whole year of thinking and saving money and everything, I was like, okay, now is the time. I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna try this. and I'm very happy I made this decision. It was the best decision I've ever made.
Carefully planned and calculated though, but still need to be brave.
Yes.
And you mentioned about working for a football team or marketing at the beginning, and I know it was sports marketing for I have to look, this is the Austrian football team, SK Rapid. You can tell I'm not from Austria, can't you? How was it? I mean, I imagine that's a very male-dominated environment to work in. As a young woman, how did you find that?
Never asked myself that question, actually. I actually just applied for that job as I would applied for any other job. Like, I didn't really think that's a male-dominated area.
Okay.
I just thought like, oh, there is a job I could do, so I applied for it, and then I talked to them, and I was really lucky that all the colleagues are very nice, and it was really funny to work with them. But I never had this idea in my head that it's like a male-dominated area, actually.
And is free running more male-dominated as well?
It is, but there is like a lot of women coming to the sports right now, and it's growing a lot, and the level is going up really high. So I think it's coming. And
do you notice a difference as a female free runner? Are you treated differently? Are there any things that you don't do that?
Not really. I just like personally at the training. It's just because I think when you train together with the guys, they don't really expect girls to do the same thing or train the same thing you do. So it's always when you do something and a guy would do the same thing, they would applaud and say, "Oh, cool, you did it," because actually I wasn't expecting that. But with the time, it's like it's getting more normal because the people I'm surrounded in training right now, they already know what I'm capable to do, and I just want to show this on Instagram and everything so that more girls know this is possible and you can do it. And yeah, so.
And do you think that for somebody starting out in free running that it would be easier for a man to break into that as a career than a woman now, or not?
I would not say that, because I think it really depends on your attitude. Like, what are you thinking if you're capable to do it? But because, as I said before, like my mom never taught me to say you're not able to do it because you're a girl. If you never had this mindset in your head, then you don't really think about it, and you just go in and you're like, of course you can do it. You know what I mean? You never ask yourself the other question. So if you're a girl, like, you know, okay, that's fine for me, then you can go into a gym where there's mostly guys and you just go in and you do your thing. And I'm pretty sure all of the guys, they will try to help you, as it is in the parkour community. Everybody's trying to help each other, no matter if they're tall, small, whatever, a guy, a girl. So it really depends on the person itself, I think.
So it's a very supportive community.
Absolutely,
for everybody.
Yeah, very supportive community.
And I know you're doing some work with the youth, and you're a board member at the Austrian Sports Federation. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do in that role?
For the youth? There is actually a lot of new sports growing out of the basic sports, I would say. And most of the sports, they're not really organized. They just want to go out and train. They just want to go out and have fun. And it's really hard for a not organized sport to get any kind of support from government or whatever. Okay. So it's really, we are trying now to break up the rules a little bit and to open the doors for them, to tell them we can help you with education systems, we can help you with insurance, we can help you to give the place you need for training or any equipment you need, because we all have that, but we just don't really know what you need. And because they're not organized, it's a little hard to cooperate. So I'm trying to make this connection a little better so the youth can develop their sport the way they want to develop the sport. And they know best what they need, actually.
Sure. And as an advocate for sports for the future and youth, what's trending? What are we going to be seeing more of?
That's a very interesting question. I think in the future, maybe, that's just maybe, in the future, maybe it's really hard to have a definition for every sport you do, because it's gonna be probably a combination of so many different kinds of sports. So there is, like, I don't know, gymnastics and martial arts, and then we have like parkour and free running, which is kind of similar, and then you have tricking, which is kind of similar to free running on the floor, and then we have calisthenics, which is, there's many people who do many different things, but also, like, you cannot define it, and I think it's gonna spread even more, and then you have like a combination of that sport and that sport and that sport, and it's really hard to have a big structure and say this is this sport only, because when I see myself, like I'm doing a lot of different sports already, and if you say, okay, I mean I would say I'm a parkour and freerunning athlete, but I also do like ninja warrior, I also do like a lot of climbing stuff, I also do like dancing stuff, so it's like also a combination out of everything. Yeah.
It's fascinating to see that over time sport can change, isn't it? And
yeah.
New trends and completely new sports can.
But that's
emerge.
I think that's so cool, because the youth is so creative, and if they have a passion about it, they try to challenge themselves every time even more. It's like, well, I can do a backflip, maybe I can do a backflip off something, maybe I can twist it, maybe I can double twist it, maybe there's endless opportunities. And that's what creates. Maybe I can use a ball within doing a backflip or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like use a slack line, do a backflip on a slack line, and everything comes together, and many different kinds of sports.
Creativity again, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
And what do you see as the main benefits to the youth? Why do you feel that work is so important?
I really think because they're the future, of course, kind of. It's like when they grow up and they have a passion and they have like a safe environment to train, they can pass it on to the next generation, and they pass it on to the next generation. So I think it's really important to let them grow and give them space for their creativity.
So I completely agree. And I just want to ask you a bit more about being a stunt woman, because I'm quite fascinated by this. I know you've done lots of different television shows and now a movie. Can you tell us a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes? Because obviously when we see it on the big screen, I'm sure it's not how it is for you in reality.
What's going on behind the scenes? Oh, there is a lot going on behind the scenes. I don't know, how much time do we have? No, there is actually, when I first got my first job in a stunt movie, I thought it was just me, and then you come to the set and you figure out there's like 250 other people and you don't know what they're doing. So you get to know your stunt team, which they make sure you're really safe. They rehearse with you a lot of stuff, like all the movements you need to do, with protection gear, with mats and everything. You have your stunt coordinator who coordinates whatever needs to be, like maybe there's a car coming and there's an explosion over there. So he's coordinating whatever the director wants to see and whatever is safe for me. Then you have, like, of course, the fitting costumes, like, and you get to know the actress you're doubling. So you need to know how she moves to adapt the way she moves. And also, like, as I said, the costume, you probably get, sometimes I have like really long hair, and then you have a really heavy coat, and then you have like big shoes, and then you still need to be able to do the stunts. And so actually what I want to say is that you have months of rehearsals and to prepare this. And when it comes to the actual shoot day, everything needs to be perfect and everything needs to be on time. And then on the screen, it's like 4 seconds. So that's what's actually kind of going on behind the scenes. It's like a lot of work you need to do before you actually come to the shoot day. And then when it comes to the shoot day, it's like a 4-second thing on the screen, which is really cool though. But it's like no one really realizes how much work there is. You need to prepare.
Behind it,
yeah,
behind those very short segments.
Yeah.
And you must get a bit scared though. Do you? I mean,
always.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. I'm often very, very scared, especially when it comes to movements I'm not so used to do. But as I said before, then you have like the stunt team, and they put you on a harness, and they put you on, like, you do a lot of wire works, and they make you as safe as possible, and you just learn the stunts you need to do, and then you feel pretty, actually when it comes to the shoot day, you're already pretty much confident that you can do it. And
so in the stunt work, you sound like there's a lot of protection, but you know, when we watched you in the little video there, there isn't any. How do you deal with that in your head, and how do you overcome that fear?
Protection gear, like, okay, I don't think protection gear would make me feel more safe in parkour and freerunning.
Okay.
It does in the stunts, because in the stunts it's sometimes a movement you normally don't do.
Sure.
You just jump over cars. It's the first time you try that you have to protect yourself to make sure everything is going right. But a protection in parkour and freerunning is actually more the way you train and the way you know there's a risky situation and you have a fear and you have to overcome the fear, and by training you know your limits better and you get better, and that's the best protection you can actually get. It's better than any protection gear, because you get to know what you're capable of and how to use your body to overcome that risky situation. So that's actually, the training is our protection.
Yeah,
that makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah, so there's nothing better than actually really just practicing and breaking it down. So if you've got a really tricky move to do or a new stunt that you've got to do and it's you know it's going to be a challenge, how do you approach that? What challenges do you kind of face?
I'm lucky enough to say that I have like a really cool gym I can train at, and I have like a foam pit, or I can use mats. I have surrounded with a lot of friends who are coaches. I try to ask to like spot me in a move or whatever. I watch a lot of YouTube tutorials to make sure I know what the move should look like, and then I keep practicing it on mats. And when I know, okay, I can deal again in the worst, you always have to, like, I think about the worst case scenario, like what was the worst thing. I'm not gonna fall on my head if I do it, so that's good. I'm probably gonna fall on my bum, or I'm gonna fall on my hands, so that's fine, because I can roll out. You have to make plan A, B, C to know what would you do in the worst case situation, and then if you can limit it down to, okay, I'm gonna be safe anyway, whatever happens, then I'm ready to go and do that move. So that's kind of the way I do it.
You must get an adrenaline rush.
Absolutely. When the first time you think, okay, actually it could work and it's gonna work, so you're gonna be like really, okay, I'm gonna do it now, and then you do it and you've done it, and then you're like, oh, that's the best feeling ever. When you first done a move and you're like, oh, so good, okay, let's put the mats away. I can do it without the mats.
You're almost convincing me, but not fully. Now I'm just going to have a little look on here. Because we've got some questions coming in, so let me just have a little look and see. Here we go. There is a lot of discussion on equal pay in sport. Do you find that being an issue in your work as well?
Equal pay?
Equal pay, so men and women are getting paid the same.
Oh, yeah, that's the good thing about parkour and freerunning, because in our events, we try to keep the price the same, like the price for the first places. So it's the same, even there is a lot of more men competing than the women, but we realize that actually we both need to do our things to get first, no matter if you're competing against 1 or 2 persons or against 15 persons. So we have same prize money, which is pretty cool.
So that's never been an issue in that sport?
I mean, it was before, but we really quickly changed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And another question we've got here. Have you ever faced any discrimination because of your gender in your life in sport?
Not really. I was really lucky to say that, and maybe that's also the reason why I've never thought about questions like that. Like, what is it in a male-dominated area? It's like, never really asked myself. It's like, now I realize actually it's true, but I never felt like discriminated by it or whatever. It's like,
it's really heartening to hear that. Fantastic. Okay, so I just want to ask you, what would your advice be to others who maybe are looking to take a challenge or to change their life, to fulfill, like your hobby became your career? What advice would you give to people?
I think many people, they actually, like I've heard it from many friends, they have their job, they're in a safe environment, they do their 9-to-5 jobs, they earn money, and they give up their hobby, actually, whatever it is, it's painting, musicians, sports, whatever, but they need to work and they need to earn money, which is fine, but never give up your hobby, never give up what you really love to do, because it's important to have that happiness in you. And to me, I did this besides my job, and I built up this career, and I think if you have the possibility to make another decision, or to just think out of the box, or just think if the life you have right now, is this the life I really want to have, or is there maybe another opportunity? Just rethink your life, because just rethinking doesn't make anything worse, I think. And then make a lot of options, and then try what would the worst case be, and how can I handle the worst case, and then just do it and risk it and try something new, and don't be afraid to make another decision, or try to not afraid to be like step out of the comfort zone, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, I think we all get a bit scared about stepping out of the comfort zone, but there's
but because I did that, exactly that, being out of the safe zone, going out and try to risk and do a parkour freerunning career is why I'm here right now, and like why I'm doing this as a profession, and it's really, really cool. Like,
Oh, that's really great.
really happy.
Have you had any injuries?
Injuries?
That's one of the questions somebody's asking. It's a good question. I look at the video and think,
no,
surely.
No, not really. Like,
broken bones?
Really never had a broken bone. Like, as I said before, I'm really trying to prepare myself, but like, it can happen in any sports, and it can happen in any daily life. Like, luckily, I never had like a broken bone.
I guess it always says you could get run over by a bus, couldn't you? But what's been your most scary experience? Somebody else is asking here. Yeah, the time when.
Actually, I really have a lot of respect when it comes to fire and stuff.
Okay.
So there was like a show I had to do, and I had to jump over fire. And that was always like, oh, you never know, fire is sometimes so unpredictable, and you don't know if it goes up or down, and you want me to jump over. So that was a little bit scary, but it was okay. Like, when it comes to fire, I'm like, oh, okay. Interesting.
Just hope your fire protected clothing does the job. Yeah.
But still, is the fire there?
Yeah.
And you want to jump through that.
And any water stunts involving water as well? Is that something you're comfortable with, or? Water?
I think I'm okay with water, because last time I did the Parkour Hunters video, like, it's actually a Pocahontas video, but I wanted myself to jump from a really dive into the water really high. So I practiced that, and actually when I did it the first time for me it was really high. I felt really fine with it and okay, so I'm like, I think I like water more than fire, I guess.
Brilliant. Well, we can pop back to some of these questions at a later date, but I'm fascinated, you can tell. I just wanted to find out more about that, and it's really inspiring to hear your journey and how you have followed your passion and made it your career, and how you may not think you're fearless, but how brave you really are, and what amazing role model you're being, and your work for the youth for the future as well. So thank you very much for chatting to us.
It's been
so much. Really lovely to have you.
Nice.
And thank you to everybody for joining us. Oh, hang on, I'm being told there's another question. Hold on. This is the great thing about being live. We can just add them in, and as people come up with them. Hang on, here it's appearing on my screen.
Any questions right now?
Let's have a look. Is it coming through? There we go. Okay, somebody's asking if you have any tips to share to overcome your worries.
Any worries, or just...
Well, your fears, I guess, your worries and your fears.
Well, first of all, it's really okay to have fear, because it kind of protects you as well, right? It makes you rethink again, well, this is a risky situation, and that's actually the point, and the tip is to think, if you have a challenge in front of you, or something you want to overcome, then make the worst case, and try to think from the worst case, and step it and think through it. What would I do in this situation? How can I save myself from that situation, or whatever? Like, make a few plans, and then figure out, okay, how can I adapt that this is not the worst case anymore, but it's getting better and better, so it makes it easier to make that decision. You know what I mean? Kind of. So I always like to have like to be organized, like to have a lot of plans, different kind of plans. So yeah, that's the way I do it. If I have like a flip I want to do, and I'm afraid I fall on my head and break my neck, I'm like, I need to do this before I do that, and I need to like practice myself to overcome like that rotation, and make sure I have more rotation into the foam pit maybe first, and then put a mat in it, and then get a spot or whatever it is.
So generally for you, there's reassurance in being prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
And being very, very well planned, and that makes you feel happier to try new challenges.
And also that it is okay to fail as well. Like if you say, well, I made this decision and it didn't work out, it's okay, because I know that was the worst case, but I have a plan B, and then I start over again from that situation. Don't be afraid to like be knocked down or fall down. You have to stand up again. It sounds really cliche, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, you have to think it's not always easy to make a right or wrong decision, but sometimes you have to get up again and start again, but at least you tried it. You never know if you don't ever try it,
And have you had to pick yourself up and brush yourself off lots of times?
Sometimes, yeah, of course, but It's fine, because if you know this situation can happen and you know how to deal with it, it's tough because it's not a good situation, but you can handle it and you can
Sure.
grow out of it, and it's gonna be any time better, be better soon.
Make you stronger for the future.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it helps as well.
fantastic.
If that is a good tip, I hope so.
Yeah, I think it sounds great. Yeah, it's yeah, it's always good to be prepared, to be proud, to be brave, and to go for it in life. Yeah. Thank you very much, Pamela. It's been brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you everybody for joining us. Please come back and join us for our next 261 Empowerment Talk. Keep an eye on our social media, 261fearless.org. You can find us here on the 261 YouTube channel, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and in running clubs around the country as well, around the world in fact. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.